So Columbus, so tonight we have a theme. Every, 2 or 3 times a year we do this. I think MLK Day we did it once, Veterans Day we did it once. Certain holidays fall on Mondays, we're here on Mondays. So the second Monday of every October is Columbus Day. And this is a problematic holiday for obvious reasons. So just to, and it's much bigger than just the man Columbus himself, which we could argue about. But the point is that the legacy that Columbus represents includes a genocide of hundreds of Native American tribes from all across the Americas, and a legacy of slavery and oppression that continues to this day. And so, we are taught a certain history in school that is the history written by the victors, where who's a hero and who's not mentioned is kind of is a direct reflection of the power structures that have shaped society over centuries. But an open mic is a different kind of thing, where everyone's voice matters. So we're here to tell stories, to sing songs, to share poetry, and to collect different perspectives and ideas and thoughts and prayers and reflections and feelings about the massive history that this day puts into question and invokes. So we do want to encourage celebrations of, we did encourage celebrations of Indigenous peoples' resistance. That's a huge thing that's happening today all around the country. Thousands of people are advocating for this day to be, changed to Indigenous Peoples Day. I heard they actually did it in Seattle.
And Minneapolis.
And Minneapolis? That's amazing. So happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Word, give it up for Indigenous people. Awesome. And on that note, for the invocation, so it's tradition to invoke with something here. So just a short piece, just less than 2 pages, from this remarkable book of collections of writings from Subcomandante Marcos, who is the most outspoken leader of the Zapatista movement of Southeast Mexico. So just a little context for that. In 1994, the Zapatistas rose up and took over government buildings in 7 cities in Chiapas, which is the poorest state in Mexico, because it was the day that the North American Free Trade Agreement was signed, and they declared that that was a death sentence for Indigenous peoples who were already living in a state of apartheid, without hospitals, without schools, dying of hunger and malnourishment and disease that could easily be cured. And the fighting only lasted 12 days, and for the last 20 years they've been building a new world completely autonomous of capitalism and the Mexican government, and it's embraced many more movements than just Indigenous people's rights, but that was the origin of it. So this is a letter from Subcomandante Marcos called 500 Years of Indigenous Resistance. February 1st, 1994. That's exactly 1 month after the uprising. To the Council of Guerrero, Chilpancingo, Guerrero, Mexico. Brothers and sisters, we want to tell you that we received your letter sent on January 24th of 1994. We are very happy to know that our indigenous brothers Amuzgos, Mixtec, Nahuatl, and Tlapanecos know of our just struggle for dignity and liberty for the indigenous and for all Mexicans. Our heart is made strong with your words, which come from so far away, that come from the history of oppression, death, and misery that all the bad governors have decreed for our peoples, for our persons. Our heart is made big with your message that reaches us skipping mountains and rivers, cities and roads, suspicions and prejudices. In our name, in your name, in the name of all the indigenous of Mexico, and in the name of all good people who walk a good path, we receive your words. brothers and sisters. Yesterday, kin in exploitation and misery. Today and tomorrow, brothers and sisters in a dignified and true struggle. Today marks 1 month since the Zapatista light came to illuminate our night and our people. In our heart there was so much pain. So great was our death and our shame, brothers and sisters, that they no longer fit into this world given to us by our grandfathers. So great was the pain and shame that they no longer fit inside the heart of just a few, and they spilled over and began filling other hearts with pain and shame. The hearts of the eldest and wisest of our peoples, and the hearts of the young men and women, brave ones, all of them, and the hearts of the children, even the youngest ones, and filled with pain were the hearts of the animals and plants. The heart filled with stones, and our whole world was filled with pain and shame, and the wind and the sun were also pain and shame, and the earth had pain and shame. Everything was pain and shame. Everything was silence. The pain that gathered us made us speak, and we recognized that in our word there was truth. We understood that not only pain and shame lived in our tongue, we learned there was still hope in our chests. We spoke to ourselves, we looked inside ourselves, and we looked at our history. We saw our eldest fathers suffer and struggle. We saw our grandfathers struggle. We saw our fathers with fury in their hands. We saw that not all had been taken from us, that we still had what was most valuable, that which made us live, that which made our step rise above plants and animals, that which made the stones stay beneath our feet. And we saw, brothers and sisters, that dignity was everything we had. And we saw that our shame was big for having forgotten. And we saw that dignity was good so that men would be men once again. And dignity came to reside once again in our heart, and we were renewed. And the dead, our dead, saw that we were renewed, and they called to us again, to dignity and to the struggle. And so in our heart there was no longer just pain and shame. Courage and valor came to us through the mouth of our elders, who were dead but lived again in the dignity that they gave to us. And we saw that it was not good to die of shame and pain, that it was not good to die without having struggled. And we saw that we must gain a dignified death so that all could live one day with the good and with reason. And so our hands searched for liberty and justice. Our hands, empty of hope, were filled with the fire to demand and shout our deep desires and our struggle. And so we rose to walk again. Our step became steady once again. Our hands and our heart were armed. For all, says our heart, not just for some. For all, says our step. For all, shouts our spilled blood, flowering in the city streets where lies and privation govern. We have left our lands behind, our homes are far away. We left everything and everyone. We lifted our skin to dress ourselves with war and death. We die to live. Nothing for us, everything for all. That which is rightfully ours and our children's. We have left everything, all of us. Now they want to leave us alone, brothers and sisters. They want that our death be useless. They want that our blood be forgotten among the stones and dung. They want that our voice be hushed. They want that our step become once again distant. Don't abandon us, brothers and sisters. Take our blood and nourish yourselves. Fill the heart that is yours and of all good people in these lands, indigenous and not indigenous, men and women, elders and children. Don't leave us to ourselves. Let not this have been in vain. Let the voice of the blood that united us when the earth and the skies were not the property of the grandees call to us once again. Let our hearts walk the same path. Let the powerful tremble. Let the heart of the small and miserable be gladdened. Let the dead of always have life. Don't abandon us. Don't let us die alone. Don't leave our struggle in the vacuum of the powerful. Brothers and sisters, let our path be the same, one for all. Liberty, democracy, justice. Respectfully, from the mountains of the Mexican Southeast, Subcomandante Insurgente Marcos. Thank you. And with that, we invite everyone, one and all, to add your voices to this conversation, to this cipher. It doesn't have to be direct.